Hey everybody, Tall Family Films here. If you're watching this video, you likely have a Nissan that is making a clicking noise when you change something on the air conditioner. This is actually an actuator blend door that you're hearing. So if yours isn't making this noise, you can skip this video. The noise is coming from this general area here. We're going to remove that plastic door right there and show you exactly what's happening. So there are three actuators in the Nissan Armada and Titan that I know of off the top of my head. There could be more. The first one looks really easy to get to. It's right behind the plastic door, the bezel that we just pulled off. That is not the one we're going for, unfortunately. The one that we need is in a much harder place to get to. So let me adjust the light here and show you exactly what we're trying to accomplish. If you look way up past the easy to see actuator, right in here, you'll see there is another actuator. It's held on by 3 screws. The hardest of the 3 screws to get to is a 5.5 millimeter. Yes, they do make a socket of that size and you're going to need it. These 2 that I'm pointing at, those are 7 millimeter, a lot easier for you to get to. So to help orient you, the easy actuator that we're not replacing is right here on the right. We're looking straight up under the driver dash. This metal brace that you're seeing here, it does not move. So we have to move the things that are inside of it to give us a little bit more room. There's one 10 millimeter bolt right there on that left side. And then also over here on the right side, there's an identical 10 millimeter bolt that we'll be able to get a better view of here. Here's the one on the left. And right over here is the one on the right side. There it is. All right, so we need to remove both of those. In addition to removing those are holding the amplifier in. We need to remove this black box that's being held in by a couple of other 10 millimeter bolts. There's one here, and there is another one on the other side, just like there was on the amplifier. You can see that 10 millimeter bolt there. There's also one up higher, a 10 millimeter bolt up higher from this. And I'm going to circle it for you. There you go. Now let's take a quick freeze frame here. These 3 arrows are pointing to the connectors that you're going to need to remove from this black box. There's some things you should know about this box. It controls whether your truck will start. It also controls the lights that are in your truck. If you leave the keys in the ignition, you won't be able to turn the lights off, the headlights, and that could kill your battery. It's also going to have a major effect on the interior lighting in the car and whether they work when the doors are open or not. Don't leave the keys in the ignition. Don't worry about the lights not working. It's all going to come back together at the end. All right, so once you get the black box out of the way, it will actually come completely out of the car. Then up underneath it is the amplifier, and you can see what I'm pointing at here. There are 2 bolts. These are 8 millimeter bolts that you have to undo. There's an identical one on the top, up on the north end of this box. You have to get those out, and the amplifier will move to the left. It's difficult to get completely out, but you can move it over to the left, and you can move it enough that it'll be out of the way for you to work to get into the actuator. So here we are. This is the part that we're after. These are the 3 screws that hold the actuator in. Just a reminder, you're going to need a 5.5 millimeter socket. There will be a link to one in the description. These 2 screws hold this entire round piece of plastic into the truck. You do not want to pull those out. On the off chance that you do, like I've done here, don't freak out. There's a white piece of plastic on the back side, and it's easy to realign. I'm going to kind of walk you through the steps here. If the white piece of plastic falls down while you're working on this, or if you accidentally remove those 2 and the entire thing comes out, I'm going to show you how it kind of reassembles. You have to do this inside the car. The white piece goes first, the round black piece goes next, and then the actuator goes on third. You cannot assemble this outside the car and put it back in. There's not enough room for you to physically get it in there. So the actuator only goes on one way. This white piece of plastic will only connect properly when it hits the keyed hole that's on the back of the actuator. So you can't get it on wrong. It'll only go in one way. Those little tracks that run on the white piece of plastic, they're going to have to be aligned with the black pieces of plastic that are up inside the truck, and you will see them once you get in there. So again, it's not a huge deal if you pull it off. You're just adding a little bit of extra work to your job. So how do you get the actuator out? Well, you don't just pull straight down on it. Notice in the upper right hand corner here, this plus. That has to be keyed to fit onto the large round black piece of plastic. Notice here, I'm having to actually push straight down onto it so that the key will line up. We'll do it again to show you. So what this means is, while it's in the car, you are going to have to pull it away from that keyed black piece of plastic. While you're pulling it away, you want to rotate it clockwise and then pull down, and it should come out. I don't want to minimize the complexity of what you're undertaking here, but this is a much easier way to do this than taking the entire dashboard out of your car. One thing to note is the actuator has a lot of grease that connects it to the white piece of plastic, and the two might stick together. You might find it useful to put a screwdriver in between these two when you pull the actuator so that you can get it to separate. Here's another tip. I painted the bottom of the actuator. I just put a white stripe on it. When you're actually up in here trying to put this in and the actuator is kind of swirling around, believe it or not, you're going to need to know which way is down. And no job would be complete without me showing you that we actually fixed the problem. So here we're going to activate the actuator, and you can see that it's moving the blend door with no noise. If you're curious and you just want to see what did it look like when it was making the noise, I made a quick video of that too, so you can actually see the problem as it's occurring. So, that's what the problem is. Hey, if this video has helped you, you can really help me by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. It really does help a lot. Thanks a lot.